right, good morning, second grade students. Today for science, we are going to be looking at reading a thermometer. So first off, we need to know what is a thermometer. So thermometers are a tool that measure temperature. They tell us how warm or cold the temperature of something is. We usually use thermometers to show how warm or cold it is outside, but we also use them in our house to see the temperatures of our house. We also use thermometers to take our temperatures to see if we have a fever. And there are many different types of thermometers, but the two most common you will see are mercury thermometers, which we see here at the top, and then digital thermometers that we see here at the bottom. All right, so then we need to also know what is temperature. So temperature is a measure of how much heat or energy something has. So let's imagine you have a mug of cold milk and a mug of hot tea. If you wrap your hands around the mug of cold milk, your hands will feel cool. And if you wrap your hands around the mug of hot tea, your hands will feel warm. So things that are cool to the touch have a lower temperature or less energy, and things that are warm to the touch have a higher temperature and more energy. All right, so now we want to talk about precise measurements with temperature. Now, if we want a more precise measurement of temperature, we can use a thermometer to do this. So thermometers are usually made of glass and have a hollow tube. And at the bottom of the tube, there is a bulb. The bulb normally holds liquid such as mercury. So there are numbers that go up the side of the thermometer, and those are what tell us the temperature. And then there is normally also a symbol at the top that tells you what units of temperature you are measuring. And the two most popular are Celsius and Fahrenheit, and they are named after the two people who came up with these units. So most people in the US use Fahrenheit, while most of the rest of the world uses Celsius. All right, so now we're going to be talking about increase and decrease in temperatures. So when there is an increase in heat, the liquid will move up the tube. And when there is a decrease in heat, the liquid will move down the tube. All right, so now we're going to look at reading temperatures. So we see that the temperature is going up on the thermometer because of how much liquid there is in it. We find the top of the liquid and we see what the number is to the right. And so on this thermostat, we see that the red liquid goes up to about 80 degrees. So the line is right at 80. And then at the top, we see the little degree sign with the F, which means that we are talking degrees Fahrenheit on this thermostat. And then we know that our answer is going to be 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and it can also be written as 80 and then the little circle and then either just the letter F, or we can write out Fahrenheit. All right, so now let's look at another example here. So we see that the liquid has moved down in the tube. So again, we want to find the top of the liquid and see what the number is on the side. So this time we are right at 30. And then we want to look to see what units we are in. And this time we see the degree and the C. So we are in the units Celsius on this thermometer. So our temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. And again, can also be written 30 with the little degree sign and then either a capital C, or we can write out Celsius. All right, so let's look at some examples here. So some other thermometers that you might see could look like this. It could be circular. Many of these you will find outside to find out outside temperature. So on this one, we notice that we have multiple lines, and each line is 1 degree. So for this one, we see that the arrow is pointing in the middle. And so we can start back at 30 and go 31, 32, so it's on 33 degrees Celsius. And this one also, we see that we have lines. It's almost like a clock. Each line, instead of being 1 minute, it's 1 degree. So here we see it's in the middle if we were looking at the Celsius side, but we notice that all of these are in Fahrenheit. So we want to look on the Fahrenheit side, and we see that this one lines up very nicely at 90 degrees. But if we were talking in Celsius, we would look at 30, 31, 32. So it'd be 32 degrees Celsius if they were asking for it in Celsius. All right, and that is our lesson for today for science.